ಹಿಸ್ಟ್ರಿ ಎಲ್ರಿಗೂ ಕೂಡ ಅನ್ವಯ ಆಗಬೇಕು.
Very good morning, cadets. Hope you are doing well. We have completed the brief introduction to few chapters in the previous video sessions. The very purpose of brief introduction about lesson is only to make you understand what you are going to study this year in the Democratic Politics Part 1 or Political Science in class 9th. Electoral Politics is chapter number 3. So those who have you can download Diksha app. You download Diksha app, and if you scan this logo, definitely you can directly access to the digital version of textbook. That is what you can do. Chapter 3, that is electoral politics. In chapter 3, electoral politics, we are going to study about the system of elections in India. Cadets, elections are considered as the celebrations in a democracy. So, why election? Okay, so we are going to study about the election systems in India. When you are studying about the election system in India, you should understand that we have different levels of elections. We have elections for Lok Sabha, elections for assembly, that is state legislative assembly, election for municipality, city municipality corporation, gram panchayat. So we are going to discuss in detail about the elections in this particular chapter. Not only regarding elections, we are also going to deal about the political competition. Is it good to have political competitions? Now, you know, India is geographically is a vast country and a big nation. So naturally, it is very difficult to conduct elections in such a geographically and population wise huge country. So the Election Commission of India wonderfully designed the system of elections in India. That is what we are going to study, how the country is divided into various parliamentary constituencies, how in each state MLA constituencies are divided, how in each district and taluk level, panchayat level, how the ward, city municipalities, they are all divided. So this is what we are going to study in this chapter, that is how elections are conducted. And many times we come across the argument, you may be observed recently the problems which are highlighted by the news channels in Bengal elections and all those things. So many times a question may arise in your mind that is it good to have political competitions? You can see in Karnataka also, opposition party, ruling party leaders, this continuously criticize. These are day to day you are watching in the news channel. So sometimes this question you may be also thinking that is political competition is good, but definitely we are going to study about this in detail in this chapter, because elections very very important. You see the very cartoon here, the cartoon clearly says the promises made by the political leaders during the elections. And unfortunately, the voter is compared to a dog. So here you see the condition of the dog is very, very poor. Please read the cartoon carefully, write the message. So many times we feel that a lot of promises are made during the time of elections, but no promises are met in the later stage. Then we are also going to study about our system of election in India. That is, what is our election system of elections in India. For smooth conducting of election, how the election commission devise the system of elections in India. That is what we speak about, our election system. Whenever we speak about the election system, then definitely we speak about electoral constituency. So electoral constituency means an area from where an MP or MLA is representing. So we are going to discuss about electoral constituency in this particular chapter. And we are also going to discuss about reservation of seats for women, for scheduled caste and scheduled tribe in the various elections. So how many constituencies are there in India? That is 543. So we have 543 MP constituencies. What is MP? MP is, it is given here, member of parliament. So member of parliament or an MP. So how many MPs are there in India? They are 543 in Lok Sabha. Okay, I repeat, 543 in Lok Sabha. So it is very clearly said that Lok Sabha elections, 543 constituencies, and the member of parliament is called an MP. The same way there are MLAs. So who is an MLA? Member of Legislative Assembly. Member of Legislative Assembly. So member of Legislative Assembly means a person who is seen in the state. So member of Legislative Assembly or an MLA. So MLA represents State Legislative Assembly, MP represents Lok Sabha or Rajya Sabha. Of course, Rajya Sabha voters don't vote directly, that's why it is not highlighted. So we are going to discuss about the constituency, meaning of constituency, how many constituencies are there in Karnataka, all those things we are going to discuss in detail. So you can see here constituencies are divided in India, in Karnataka. So you can see the Lok Sabha constituency, Gulbarga Lok Sabha constituency, then how it is district wise it is divided. So all those things we are going to study in detail. Apart from that, we are also going to study about the process of voters list. When you attain the age of 18, you can register your name in the voters list. So a person's name is registered in the voters list, then you can vote in the election. You can exercise the power of universal adult franchise. So you can see here the Lok Sabha constituencies. In Lok Sabha constituencies, how many reserved for scheduled caste? 84. Scheduled tribe 47 and general 412. 543. This is the according to old one. Okay. Now you can see every state is sending certain number of MPs. It is purely based on the population of the state. That's the reason why you can see here which state is sending highest number. Which state is sending highest number is Uttar Pradesh. Uttar Pradesh is sending highest number. Geographically, Rajasthan is the biggest state, but population wise, UP is the biggest state. That's the reason why constituencies are purely based on population. So this what we are going to study in detail in this chapter. So it's very interesting. Now itself you can do an activity that take your pen and take, of course, today you have enough source through internet. Try you write your name of a district, your district, and write the MP from your district and MLA from your place. You can also, if you are in the city limits, then you can write your municipality or the mayor or chairman of municipal corporation, or if you are village, you can definitely write your panchayat member. So that is how an election is conducted in various levels. Now, apart from that, during elections, of course, you may be observed that nomination of the candidate, those who are interested to contest for election, they should file their nomination. Very interesting topic here, cadets. What you have to understand that to become an employee in the central or state government, the person should have certain basic minimum qualification. But unfortunately, in case of politicians, there is no such defined qualification. Only age is a qualification. That is what one unfortunate, of course, the constitutional amendment is required. Okay, so we are going to study about the election commission. We are going to study about the steps of elections. Then we are very interestingly we are studying about election campaign. So what is election campaign? Election campaign is nothing but once the election is declared, then various political parties call their top leaders and organize rallies and involve in various gimmicks so that they can get the seat or they can win the election. So we are going to study about the election campaign. Apart from that, we are also going to study about various political parties, that is BJP, Congress, JDS and Communist Party, many other political parties. So we are going to study about all those topics in detail. So nomination of the candidates, election day, polling and counting of votes. Can you tell me what these are all? The various stages involved in the process of election. We are going to study in detail about election process. Very interesting chapter, because we are going to study about various election process. So I request you that now you can do a case study. What case study you can now? You say on 6th of April the by-elections will almost over in the states like Kerala, Tamil Nadu, Assam, West Bengal, and the Union State of Puducherry. So once the elections are completed in these 5 places, 5 states, on May 2nd, the election result will be declared. So on May 2nd, of course, all television channels, they are all busy in publishing the result of various political parties in the respective states. So what you can do now, take a case study of any state of your choice, West Bengal or Assam or Kerala or Tamil Nadu. Take the case study, means presently which political party is ruling in that state, what happens after May 2nd, which new political party is coming to power or the same old party is continuing. BJP, Congress, Communist Party of India, AIADMK, DMK, Assam Gana Parishad, TMC, that is Trinamool Congress. Make a list of political parties and write down the number of seats they own in a respective states in the election. So very interesting case study it will be, so that you can yourself involve. So I request once again, involve in a case study, because anyhow they're all there in your homes, so you have got an access to TV or mobiles, so you can closely monitor election results. So that is what we are going to study, what makes elections in India democratic. When we compare elections of 30-40 years backwards, today our election system is far better because of efforts taken by the Election Commission of India. So we have electronic voting machines today, that is called EVM. Even we have the EPIC card. EPIC means election photo identity card. So a lot of steps are taken. That is what we say when we compare elections in India and other countries. Indian elections are still, they are not perfect, but at least they are in a very, very democratic way. So we are going to study about Election Commission of India and how elections are conducted by the Election Commission. What are the roles played by various agencies? That is what I explained to you. Photo ID card is mandatory and very important in India or in a democratic country. A person who lost the election has to accept the election result. This will not happen in a dictatorial form of government, but in a democratic form of government it is acceptance of results. So we are going to study about the participation. From last few years, the people's participation in the election it's quite encouraging, especially youth, youngsters. Otherwise, in India, youth or youngsters, they were not so much interested regarding elections, participation in the elections. So in total, what I am to say, that the chapter number 4, that is about the electoral system, in which we are going to study in detail about the complete system of elections which are conducted in India, and we compare election systems in India with other countries, developed countries or underdeveloped countries, African countries or Scandinavian countries. So this is about this particular chapter number 4 in brief. Of course, during the discussion in the regular classes. Definitely we'll go through in detail about this particular chapter. Challenges to free and fair elections, all those things we'll discuss in detail when the chapter is taught. This is code of conduct, constituency, incumbent, level playing field, rigging, turnout, voters turnout. Voters turnout, very important factor. 100% voters turnout is impossible, or rather very difficult, or we can say impossible only. But if 80% or more than 80% people participated in the election process, in voting process, that will be considered as the best voters turnout. So that is what voters turnout is very important, because if the more the voters turnout, the more educated and developed the country will be. So let us conclude for today, and of course I'll catch you tomorrow with the one more brief explanation of one more lesson. Thank you. Wish you a wonderful day. Thank you.